Good morning. I wanted to have a little chat with you, and I want to try to reapproach something a little differently. Um, I'm going to do my best. So, grab your favorite drink, have a seat, let's have a chat. So, recently, I was involved in a conversation on Facebook with someone, and we were actually discussing, the whole precious metal thing, whether you're smart or not for investing as far as for preparedness. And, one thing I often forget is that number one, my prepping, what I'm prepping for, is much different, I think, than the majority, to be real honest. I do not think the majority are prepping in a manner that they don't feel like normalcy is going to return. I think that most preppers have a feeling, or more likely hope, that normalcy will return. And so the long and short of that discussion is precious metals, great if it's going to be a short term, if there's going to be an end to the crisis, right? Because as long as people know, or at least feel or hope, that normalcy is going to return and that supplies will start getting shipped again and our lives will go back and continue as we've lived them, or at least to some level. As long as people have that thought, that hope, there's a chance you might be able to barter some silver or some gold for a little bit of food supplies or what have you. But the moment that people have the notion, the feeling in their gut that normalcy is not going to return, it doesn't matter how much gold or silver you offer for their food, because you have no idea, right? How do you know how much food you can spare when you don't know when things are going to get better? So, in the conversation, I had made it clear that I'm not prepping for a bad day. I'm prepping for a bad civilization. And I have been very open and honest since I've started this channel. It was one of the two things that God told me to bring to you with this channel. And that was pole shift. One of two things. I wonder if anybody can guess the second. I've said it several times. There are two things God sent me here to tell you about. One of them is pole shift. We'll see if anybody can remember the other. It's important. It is very important, vitally important, and you need to have a copy of it, we'll say the instructions, printed, not just downloaded, printed. So pole shift, yes, that is what I am prepping for. Why? Because it doesn't matter what Epstein files get released. It doesn't matter what laws are being put in place. None of that stuff matters when it comes to pole shift. All of that stuff that I had said is under man's control. Pole shift is not. Not either way. Not for a cause and not for a remedy. There's no way to get past this discussion at this point. We have had more auroras. We have had more solar storm activity in the lower 48 states of the United States in the last year, I think, than we've had in recorded history prior to the last year, if I'm not mistaken. Now, I would venture that should be going ding, 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 and lights should be flashing in your head. At the very, very minimum, you should be asking, Why in the hell is that happening? Good question. Let me answer. Because the magnetosphere is weakening. And it will continue to weaken. And we will continue to see geomagnetic storms in the lower 48 states. And we will see more. When I say more, I don't just mean, yeah, we'll see some more. No, they are going to increase in frequency, which is kind of concerning considering what I just said prior to this. The last year, more geomagnetic storm activity, or solar storm activity in the lower 48 in the last year than in all recorded history prior to that. Now, of course, we're not talking about going back to the time of Jesus and all of that stuff, of course. All of our recorded history, and I don't know when they started recording that, so. But it's getting more and more undeniable, and if you've been around this channel for any length of time, you know I have been going on and on and on for years, over a decade now, about how you should watch for the solar storm activity, check, and how you should watch for storm activity of all kinds, just being weird out there. What was it, 3, 4, something like that, storms last year that I grabbed a little clip from our local news that the weather was going from the east to the west. From the east to the west. That is not a super common thing in the St. Louis area. That was something I most certainly pointed out. But the storms themselves, whether they be snowstorms, thunderstorms, tornadic storms, hurricanes, all of them are drastically different than what they were. And let's talk about that tornado alley, shall we? The one that shifted southeast from its prior location? I mean, I live roughly 20 minutes away from where that Amazon warehouse building was destroyed by a tornado and killed those individuals. I live like 20 minutes away from that. Was that what? Christmas Day or New Year's or something? I can't remember the day, but it was like dead middle of winter, Christmas, New Year, in that time. So, I think the indicators are here. The beginning indicators. It's going to get much worse. You ain't seen nothing yet. However, you probably want to get a head start as best you can if you haven't been preparing. Now, I wished I would have mentioned this sooner than 8.5 minutes into the video, but do not follow me to learn the details about pole shift, please, because I am not the guy. Okay, God has me on a lot of tasks, but knowing the intricacies of pole shift is not one of them. God only needed me to know that it was a thing and it was coming. I firmly believe, and I'll say this wholeheartedly, that God put Ben Davison on a mission. And that is who I'm going to tell you to go to, and I will include the link for Ben's channel, both in the description and in the first comment, Space Weather News. Many of you probably already know who I'm talking about. But for those that don't, please go subscribe. Please do the homework. That would be shown in the, if you click on the about part of a video, any video, he will have the homework. So let's real quick check out, oops, I didn't mean to open it in a different spot. Hang on. Okay. So, if you go to Ben's description on his video, he has got a spot called homework. If you have not done the homework, you need to do the homework. Okay? Definitely the first 4. The Big Burp's kind of cool if you want to check it out. But definitely do the homework if you have not. Also, Ben is supposed to be releasing a documentary like very, very soon. Like as in, I suspect probably before Christmas soon. But that's only my gut feeling. I think he wants to give it to us for a Christmas present. So, anyway, keep an eye out for Ben's documentary to hit very, very soon. Also, there is one other thing. If you want to learn a little bit about what to expect, there is a book that I am going to show you. I have to get it brought up. Sorry. I meant to do this sooner, but I forgot. I forgot it. Okay. Oh. I will also put a link to this in the description and in the first comment. The Earth Exhaled. It's a book by a friend of mine by the name of Joseph D. Niemeyer. And he did an incredible, because him and I had talked quite a bit. Yes, I'm in the back of the book. And I'm humbled beyond imagination. He did homework that went far beyond he and I's discussions about pole shift. He went and dug, and that is so very evident by the book. I highly recommend you read The Earth Exhaled, and I'll leave the link to that as well. If you've got Kindle Unlimited, you can read it for free. If you do Kindle, but you don't have Kindle Unlimited, it's $4, $3.99. It's yours. Paperback, $12.99. I've got like both Kindle. I've got Kindle and the paperback. I intend to have all of his books in paperback. I'm not there yet. Anyway, highly recommend this book, and I want to put out a warning. I want to put out a disclaimer. This book ends, I would say, fairly far before the complete shift. Okay? And I don't want to give away the book or anything. You got to read the book and get what I'm getting at. Okay? Because I'm not going to give away anything. But just understand that when you read the words the end, that pole shift has a lot further to go. Okay? It's important to understand that. Also, while we're here, I would suggest to you to read these 3 books as well. 7 Days is the first one here. 14 Days is the second one here. And 21 Days is the last one. Again, if you've got Kindle Unlimited, all of those titles are free. And if you don't, those are $5, $4.99 a piece on Kindle. Paperbacks look to be $13.99. So, the reason that I recommend Joe's books above all is because of the realism of the books. I'm not pooping on other authors or anything, not intending to here. But a lot of them get carried away with their Superman stuff, right? Hey, I love the Angry American books, the Going Home series. They're awesome. But the Superman stuff is a little too much, right? How many of you know somebody that's going to be bringing in choppers, dropping? Come on. You know, it's good entertainment. It's a great book. Not all that realistic. Okay? Even 1 second after. The first book was incredible. The second book was fairly well. The third book, my opinion, not worth your time. Okay? And again, Superman complex, right? Most of the apocalyptic types of books that I have read have a Superman aspect, okay? And when I say that, I just mean that, come on, it's entertainment, okay? It's entertainment. And I'm not pooping on the authors, I'm not pooping on their books. I'm speaking to you, man to man, man to woman, what have you. 7 days, 14 days, and 21 days does a much better job at catching the reality and the raw emotion, the trial, than, I'll say the word, the tribulation. Now, I'll tell you what. 14 days, the reckoning. Out of the 3 books in this series, 14 Days is my favorite, but start with 7 days because it's the first. This one's my favorite by a long shot. By a long shot. I cannot put into words the raw emotion that he put into words. I can't do it. But I'll tell you what, as you're reading through those pages, you're going to feel it. You're going to feel it. It was beyond a pleasure to read these books. It was an honor. Read them. You'll see what I'm talking about. Read them. They are set apart from all the others. I'll put it that way. They are set apart from all the others. Great books. And by a great man. So, I want to make it very clear that when I do talk about preparedness, I am talking about the long road. I don't see any indicators of any kind from anywhere that things are going to get better. I don't see it biblically. I don't see it realistically. Not going to get better. And the sooner that we understand that, and I'm not just, I know that's not great news, right? But I'm not trying to doom and gloom you. I'm trying to tell you to get ready. I view it optimistically as what I can. And I've said in a previous video here in which I was replying to some content that Bear Independent did. Man, if you survive this, if you survive the pole shift in its entirety and you come out on the other side, the only way that you got there is through God's will. Make no mistake about it. Read Revelation. Read what happens on the earth during Revelation. And by the way, tell me what other than pole shift could that be? Floods, fires, earthquakes, all at one time around the globe. A third of the earth burn. Think about that. Toss that around in your head a little bit. Along with doing the homework from Ben Davison. Links will be in the description. And tossing it around in your head a little bit. Be careful of the people that only read the parts of the Bible that they want to hear. And coming here on YouTube telling you, well, God wouldn't put me here if he was going to flood it. well, maybe he isn't someone that God intends to survive. That goes for me as well. God's not telling me to move from here. Ben says where I'm at's going to be well underwater. And I ain't moving. Why? Because I wasn't told to. Now, it's God's will whether or not I survive. It's God's will whether or not I make it that long enough. Because I personally don't think I will. I don't think I'll be here by late 2030s. I highly doubt it. But if I am, I do make it past that, it's God's will. And nothing more. Nothing less. Too many people are too concerned about control, when the truth of the matter is, we don't have any. All we can do is prep to try to maintain as much control until we can't. Yes, I know I come on YouTube and I'm a jackass. Yes, I know I call out these other preparedness channels, and rightfully so. Anybody with a damn bit of self-respect, decency, and care for their brothers and sisters will call out liars and fakes. We are commanded to call out liars and fakes. So if you want me to shut up, then I would tell you to take your little evil ass and go somewhere else. Because evil doesn't want people to know the truth. That's not something that good does. Good doesn't cover for bad people. Look for their motive. Most of them will tell you flat out what their motive is. Why are they here? Most of them will tell you that something to the effect that they wouldn't be here if it wasn't for their Patreon patrons or this, that, the other thing. Those are the people that you want to take life-saving advice from, the people that wouldn't bother to give you the time of day unless they're profiting from it. You go right ahead and be my guest. I've spent over a decade on this platform being largely ridiculed for being honest with you. I don't feel a damn bit sorry for it. If somebody calls you out for your shit behavior, that's on you. It's not on them for noticing and shining a little bit of light on the darkness that you're providing. I mean, we all got used to the saying, can't we all just get along? I don't know. Can we all just tell the truth? Can we all just have righteous motives instead of monetary, personal gain motives, and then trying to act like you have honest motives while demeaning the people that have proven for over a decade to have honest motives? Clown world, I guess we shouldn't expect anything different. So the ball's in your court. Whether or not you read some books, do some space weather news homework, or not. It's up to you. Hope you have a good day. I'm sure I'll be around again at some point. Shalom.